Hi, welcome to another edition of the Alan Rosenberg Show. You know what time it is as I continue my ongoing series, Is Queen the Greatest Band of All Time? Not that I think so. I am investigating it. I am taking a deep dive into every one of their albums that I have, and I mean a deep dive. And then at the end of this series, I'm going to give you my honest assessment. How do they compare against the Stones, the Beatles, the Who, Zeppelin, U2, Springsteen, the Kinks? You get the idea. So I am up to News of the World that came out in 1977. This was their sixth album. Let's look at the artwork. As you can see, I have the version on CD. And then the inside gatefold. And I got to tell you, I love the artwork. Some kind of a robot. I was thinking it was the Iron Giant. Is that what it is? But if you really look at the cover, it looks to me like he's killed the guys from Queen. So that's pretty cool. And he's got like crushed bodies and blood on his fingertips. And then the gatefold, he's broken through the concert hall and he's going to start grabbing and kill the audience. And they run away in panic. I think it's pretty cool album cover and completely different. Let's look. Their last two albums was A Day at the Races and A Night at the Opera. They got the Queen crest, this royalty. They consider themselves, a band at the top echelon of rock. No crest on here. So let's go back in history a little bit. You're talking 1977, British band. What was happening back then? Well, you had punk rock, especially over in England. So I think this is Queen's reaction, certainly on one of the tracks we're going to talk about. But they're reacting from this big logo branded band, and I guess they're fighting back. It was a huge album in America, their biggest album in America at that point. In fact, it did better in America than the UK. It hit 3 on the Billboard album charts. It only topped out at 4 in the UK, which was a bit of a disappointment after these albums. Surprising to me because so far, this I find the most interesting Queen album. In the last week, I've played this album, no exaggeration, 8 times. I've played the shit out of this album. And let's go through it song by song. There's 11 songs on there. And kind of shows you that they really are a band. Because, I think without knowing the band, I would have kept thinking Freddie Mercury was such, being the lead singer and everything. But Mercury only wrote 3 songs. Brian May did 4. Roger Taylor did 2. And John Deacon did 2. So it's kind of a good split. It opens up with 2 of the biggest, most successful songs of all time. It's hard to judge them now because they're so iconic. And it's easy to say they're annoying and I've heard them so much and I never need to hear them again. But that's irrelevant. We got to judge these songs as what they are. And the 1-2 punch of We Will Rock You into We Are the Champions is astounding. It really is. I mean, think of the accomplishment. These are 2 of the biggest sports anthems. If those 2 songs were the only songs this band ever did, they'd never have to work again, obviously. Every sports stadium in the world plays them to this day. And there's a reason why, because they're goddamn incredible songs. And if those songs don't get you going in a live environment, then nothing will. So We Will Rock You, it sounds so simple, but if other bands could come up with something that amazing, they would, and they haven't. Boom, boom, ba, boom, boom, ba, the hand clap. So fucking simple, but really so amazing with just the vocals. Freddie Mercury's vocals are great on it, and it's only like 2 minutes long. To me, I always thought of We Will Rock You as not really a song, but it is. It's its own entity on the album. It really is. It's a 2-minute song, but around the minute and a half, you get that massive Brian May guitar fills that's so damn tasty and so powerful. And then just when you think it's going to keep going into even more, it ends, at 2 minutes flat. It's an awesome accomplishment. It really is. Now, do I ever need to listen to We Will Rock You Ever Again? No. But I don't ever need to listen to Baba O'Reilly and Won't Get Fooled Again either. But there's no denying that they're great songs. And I'm not saying We Will Rock You's at that level. But it certainly is in the general population. It's an awesome opener. And then that goes into We Are the Champion, which is only about 3 minutes long also. So, it's only a minute longer than We Will Rock You. And there's a a second break in between. They don't go right into each other, which in my memory they did, but they don't. And you got that piano, and Freddie Mercury's vocals are just gorgeous. I paid my dues. I mean, I can't do it. It's a gorgeous melody. And then when the band kicks in, it's a massive guitar and all that background vocals. Oh, we are the it's huge. It's powerful. And live or in a sports stadium, I mean, my God, if you don't get chills from that, it's tasteful and powerful, and it's Queen, that huge Queen sound, but it's really awesome. It's amazing. They're two of the most powerful anthems in the history of rock. They still get played at every stadium every day. There's a really awesome guitar solo in We Are the Champion that's not over the top. There's so much layering typically in Queen. And this album definitely has that punk rock influence in it. It's leaner, but we're going to get into that. And We Are the Champion just ends really suddenly. It's like a surprise ending to me. What a 1-2 punch. Great opening. Then you get into the third song, Sheer Heart Attack. Of course, that was the name of this album, but now it's the song. Led Zeppelin did that with Houses of the Holy. It was on Physical Graffiti, but the album came 2 years before that. So Sheer Heart Attack is interesting because it's Roger Taylor. Now, I never knew much about Roger Taylor except he was a drummer. I'm becoming a fan of Roger Taylor because I like his songs, his 1 or 2 songs on these other albums. Here he does Sheer Heart Attack, and oh my God, this is clearly influenced by punk rock. I mean, this thing is so punk rock, and I don't know who's playing the guitar. I'm taking a guess it's Roger Taylor because I know he plays guitar, because it sounds like a drummer who plays guitar. I'm a drummer, and I can play a little bit of guitar, and it sounds like a drummer would be playing a guitar because it's just chugga down strumming on the guitar in a punk way. It's not tasty. It's just raw. And the vocals is raw. I don't even think it's punk. I think it's like heavy metal, thrash metal. That thing is just blitzing. I don't particularly think it's my type of song, but if you like thrash metal, and a lot of people do, you'll love Sheer Heart Attack, because it really is the real deal. I mean, the end of the song's got all these squawks and guitar piercing sounds that actually hurt you if you have it blasting like I do. But yeah, it's the real deal for sure. Not my kind of a song, so but I could appreciate it for what it is. Interestingly, in all that thrash metal, there's a rototom drum sound that goes at one point, which is kind of a cool effect being a drummer. The old rototoms from the late 70s. So that goes into a Brian May song called All Dead, All Dead. Maybe you want to see on the back, can you see it? The track listing. All Dead's a strange one. Brian May sings it, and it's got like this delicate piano. It's really stripped down. It's just like the piano and then the drum and bass, but not over the top. Vocals for the most part, nice vocals, but it's kind of low key. Just all dead, all dead. It's a minor kind of a song. The only part that sounds like Queen to me is there's like a harmonic guitar bridge that's very Queen-like, and then it goes back to the mellow part of the bridge and the chorus. It's kind of like a Paul McCartney type ballad. It wouldn't be a great McCartney song, and I certainly don't think it's a great Queen song, but it's interesting and it's different. That goes into John Deacon's number called Spread Your Wings, right? Spread Your Wings. I should know it by heart, because it's by far my favorite song on this album, and it may well be my favorite song by Queen so far. Why do I like it so much? Because it's a goddamn basic rock song, and it's nice to hear Queen do that for a change. It doesn't always have to be over the top with a million guitar layers and a million guitar vocals. Sometimes you just want less is more, and this is a great song. I think it's sung by Freddie Mercury, but it doesn't totally sound like Freddie Mercury. It's a great vocal. It's a classic rock song with a classic rock vocal. It's got an awesome soaring kind of a chorus that's catchy, but it doesn't have all that harmony layers, and you don't need it. It's more powerful, stripped down. And the verses I really like that song a lot. Spread Your Wings. If you don't know it, because you're not a Queen fan like me, that's a good one to check out. That goes into another Roger Taylor song called Fight from the Inside. Doing this from memory. Yep, Fight from the Inside. That was also interesting because that's got a great, like this rolling guitar lick that I love. And it's got like a funky bass. I don't know if Roger Taylor's playing the guitar because it really doesn't sound, again, like Brian May, but certainly Brian May can handle that kind of guitar work. But again, a really good rolling guitar lick, funky bass, a really funky chorus. Drums are kind of muddy considering it's a Roger Taylor song. I'm kind of surprised. There's definitely a lot of overdubs on that song. And I think if they did it more like Spread Your Wings, it would have been a better song, more stripped down. Some of the vocals sound almost like Robert Plant, and it's got a Zeppelin kind of a funky Zeppelin feel, like a leaden, funky sound, and Zeppelin did that really well. It's kind of a cool track. I don't think it's great, but it's a cool track. Another one that just kind of ends suddenly, surprisingly. And there you go. That's the end of side one. So an interesting side one for sure. Side two starts off with another song that I knew that I never really cared for. Get Down, Make Love. I know it's probably the most sexual song. That's fine. Doesn't matter to me. Doesn't make it a good song, though. That's a Freddie Mercury song. It's really different. It stops and goes. The verses are all stop and start, and it's kind of tasty. You got some sound effects, rototom drums I heard again there, some interesting drum fills, some guitar effects, bass effects, plucking some notes there. And when it gets to the chorus, that's where this big chugging chorus pulls the song along from this stop-start to this juggernaut of a chorus. And it goes back and forth like that. In the middle of it, or towards the end of it, you get their version of Whole Lotta Love from Led Zeppelin. This whole, when Whole Lotta Love breaks down with all the guitar effects and the sound effects, man, it's a total ripoff to me. In the middle of that song, it totally sounds like a Whole Lotta Love ripoff with all that guitar and sound effects. And then it goes back to the verse and back to the song. What can I tell you? If you like Queen, I guess you like it. I'm not a fan of that song. I don't know. Didn't do much for me. The next song, Sleeping on the Sidewalk. Well, that's another interesting one. That's a Brian May song. And it's like this very slight blues jam that sounds like it's recorded live without overdubs. I'm sure that they did. But it sounds live because it's raw. It's got the walking bass line, a lead guitar solo at one point that's kind of amateuristic. Not a fan of it, and I'm going to tell you why. Because I'm going to use the Rolling Stones as an example. When you talk about the Rolling Stones, a lot of people say they're the greatest rock and roll band in the world, and I think that they are. And the word is roll. And the Stones, and Charlie Watts, is a great drummer in his own way for the Stones, and the reason why is Charlie Watts swings. He's got feel. There is no feel in Sleeping on the Sidewalk. It is a leaden drum pattern. It sounds like could be any amateuristic bar band playing that song. There's no soul. Listen, at that time, do I have it up here? At that time, that was the time of pub rock, Here's Ducks Deluxe. I'm listening to this at this, nowadays. Ducks Deluxe was a famous pub band in Britain that never made it really. Brinsley Schwartz is another one. Dr. Feelgood. Those were pub bands. All those bands have feel. This song has no feel, and I am not impressed. I'm impressed that they put it on the album, but it's just, nah. Let's go next. Who Needs You? John Deacon song. Another interesting song. It's got a lot of nylon acoustic guitar work, and I'm a sucker for that. I love that. I could throw out a bunch of songs. Listen to Year of the Cat. There's a nylon guitar solo that just takes that song to another level. Listen to the No Doubt song, Don't Speak. Nylon guitar solo, you just want to die when you hear it. Even the Mick Jagger song, Just Another Night, which is not a great song, has got a really awesome, tasty nylon guitar solo. This song has nylon guitar, like a Spanish guitar work all over it, and the guitar work is beautiful. It's got some percussion sounds that are kind of interesting, almost like from the islands. It's a tasty song, but it's not a really great song. So tasty song, but it's just okay. That goes into the longest song on the album. It's over 6 minutes long by Brian May, called It's Late. That's another interesting song because that has one of the great killer guitar licks that I've heard in a long time. I'd never heard that song before, and I love the verses and that guitar lick. It's so good. It's great. And I love the vocals. I'm assuming it's Freddie Mercury singing it, but it doesn't even sound like Freddie Mercury because he's singing it like a rocker, and he's singing it with the guitar lick, and it's awesome. And then you get the huge chorus, "It's late," which is that really big Queen sound, but it's not over the top Queen like some of that other stuff. It's still got soul, and it's got heart, and it sounds real. And it's a really cool song. It goes on a little bit too long, but between the back and forth, between the guitar lick verses and the big chorus, yeah, there's a really good guitar solo in that song. It works really, really well. And then, last but not least, it ends with, what the hell's the name of that? My Melancholy Blues. I got to tell you, what a downer way to end the album. Because to me, that goes right back to that schmaltzy Queen that I don't care for. And that's My Melancholy Blues. Really nice piano, really nice vocal from Freddie Mercury, but it just sounds so manufactured. You know, if you're going to sing the blues and it's kind of jazzy-like, it's got to be real. It's got to be authentic. I listen to blues and I have some jazz stuff, and it's got to sound authentic and real, and that doesn't. That sounds like I would hear that in a Holiday Inn somewhere with a tip jar on there, and people would say, well, he plays piano really nice and he sings really nice, but it's schmaltz. So, disappointing way to end the album. I would say for me, it's the best. Well, it's my favorite Queen album so far. You heard the description. I certainly don't think all the songs are great. I don't even think all the songs are that good. But it's an interesting album. It's nice to hear Queen less Queen. They're more organic. They're more stripped down. They're more real. And, you know, you can't beat the opening of We Will Rock You, We Are the Champion, even though I don't ever need to hear that again. It doesn't take away from the greatness. Spread Your Wings, oof, what a great find. And even It's Late, I love that guitar lick. Great stuff. So there you go. There's my assessment of News of the World. Let me know what you think. I remember when this album came out, a lot of my friends bought it, and could not convince me at that time to get it, and I didn't. But it's pretty damn good. So let me know what you think. If you're new to my channel and you're enjoying it, please hit subscribe. Check out these other Queen videos, as I am on a mission to compare Queen to the bands that I always thought were the greatest rock and roll bands in the world. Although in today's world with streaming, I seem to be in a minority, and that's why I'm doing this. Hope you enjoyed it. Stay safe. Stay healthy. Check out my other videos, and I will see you next time on the Alan Rosenberg Show.